Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood, managing editor at State of the U, one of the best websites out there for all of your Miami Hurricanes information. Some great stuff up there now, and we'll get to that in a few. I am Brian the Beast London. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. You can follow Cam at Underwood Sports. Again, he's the managing editor of State of the U. I can't even manage my finances, so that doesn't help me when it's time for tax season. My desk is a mess with printouts and stuff from my accountant. Good luck to me. In any event, Cam, I wanted to start with a couple of news stories that happened in Miami Hurricanes land, despite the kids being on spring break this week as far as football goes. And the big news was obviously a press conference happened earlier this week with Jay Lucas being introduced as the newest Miami Hurricanes basketball coach. Everything I saw and read and dug into was that this was a well-received hire by basically everyone. And he is well-liked by those in the college basketball community, but also, very importantly, in the high school basketball community, where he is a monster at recruiting. What were your thoughts as you saw the man to take over basically for Jim Larrañaga, if I'm going to use the tilde, of course? What were your thoughts on the happenings this week with Jay Lucas signing on to be the Canes' next coach?
I mean, just excited to get it done. You know, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks here. I thought this was the right move at the right time. This is a guy who's respected from grassroots basketball, AAU, college, pros. So, I mean, there were, 15, 20 pro players led by LeBron James and many, many other notable names who wished him well when he, when it was announced that he had accepted and signed, for this job. And just excited to get going. This is a thing where it's a different kind of timing, obviously, with, his former employer, Duke, still playing in the ACC tournament and then going as a favorite for the national championship in the actual NCAA tournament. But with the transfer portal and, just the way of player movement and roster building now, had to get done now. So excited that it was done. Everything that he said mirrors what we had heard. And I'm excited for him just to get to work and see what we can do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We were going to have the Miami Herald's Michelle Kaufman. She is 100% the best when it comes to college basketball coverage in this town and most towns. She was going to join us this week, but it is a big milestone birthday for her. And she told me she had about 100 people at her house right now, and her being able to get to a quiet place and join us on this podcast would be impossible. So she will join us next week. Also, she said she might be a bit tipsy. So I said, that's okay.
I mean,
you celebrate your birthday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So go and do that. Prioritize the things that need to be prioritized, and well wishes. And happy birthday.
No doubt. Hey, something you brought up was the timing of this because of the transfer portal, and I throw this out there as an opinion, and feel free to jump on this. But can we get to the point where the transfer portal windows don't coincide with major things going on in the sport,
No.
Postseason March Madness? Can we get to a point where in football where it doesn't coincide with bowl season and the playoffs? Can we? No, we can't.
No, because as long as you're still having the student athlete thing and having eligibility tied to enrollment, you're bound by the semester or trimester or quarter system of the institutions. You can't have a football transfer portal now in the middle of spring because there is no ability to enroll in the university. We talked about this when, before spring practice, when I looked up, live on the air. Okay, what was the academic calendar? What is the last day for you to enroll in the class? Those are the constraints of having someone on the team at your university, is to be enrolled at said university. So unless you're going to redo the entire structure of academics in these United States, no.
Well,
stop. I knew as soon as I said it, I know I'm leading him into it. I'm not going to do that. And yes, by the way, if you're watching today's episode, apparently we're brought to you by the color blue. This was not intended.
I know.
But it's great. I have this nice blue polo on, and he has this.
But mine's a nice
Snoopy, Nike, you'll do it, or I'll do it, shirt and everything. But hey, man, no. Anyways, No, I do not believe that you can edit when the portal windows are, unless you do something that's collectively bargained and you say, okay, then you set these things,
Right.
but
Like,
you still have attendance and enrollment as an underlying component at the collegiate level. So even if you did collectively bargain these things and say, okay, this is when player movement can happen, you would still be constrained by that foundational thing.
Listen, I'm completely ignorant in this, so feel free to just like literally slap me through the screen. It's totally fine.
I'll drive down to, well, I was going to say the city, but I know what city you live in. I'll drive down there.
Okay. That's kind of scary.
You said it before, whatever.
Oh, that's a valid point. Yeah, no, sometimes the brain doesn't work. No, but why couldn't you do the thing where like, hey, I'm transferring to such and such a school and I will, enter classes the next semester when that, like, if that's spring, summer, winter, fall, whatever that is. Like, I don't like, do you know what I'm saying? Like we're really negatively like basketball is negatively being impacted by a transfer window that is in the middle of March Madness, right? Football gets negatively impacted by a transfer portal that's in the middle of the postseason. Yeah. I like, it makes no sense to me. We're really hurting these teams by forcing guys to make decisions or coaches to make decisions in the middle of their team's season still going on. So I don't know. There's got to be a way to figure it out. Maybe that is a conversation for a different time. We can bring on some sort of higher education official that can just tell us why this can never happen, and then we can get someone from the other side, and we can have a big debate. And it'll be fun. Okay, moving on. The University of Miami football team got a huge verbal commitment from a young kid. Like, still got a couple of years to go before you'll see him at Green Tree, but a huge commitment nonetheless. Defensive back out of Norland, Kenton Dopson III, a.k.a. Trey. One of the most highly ranked players in the class of 2027. And it was quite special. We're recording this Friday afternoon, Friday, March 14th. He committed yesterday on Thursday, March 13th. The story of why he committed on Thursday the 13th is an emotional one. It's a great one. And I love stuff like this, Cam.
Yeah, Kenton Dopson III. He was a starter for Norland. He's a very talented guy. He's a lifelong Hurricane fan. On his commitment tweet, he put up from, I believe it was probably Jackson Memorial Hospital where he was born, in a Miami Hurricane like onesie, like as an infant before he even came home from the hospital, right? So just loves the University of Miami and everything. And March the 13th was the anniversary of the passing of his mother, who passed a couple years ago. And he wanted to, she was a huge Hurricanes fan. Whole family is, father and everything. I mean, obviously this is why, like I said, he was in the hospital after being born wearing Miami Hurricanes garb. Even playing optimist at like 5 years old, throwing up the U, things for Pembroke Pines Optimist, I believe, things like that. So, just a kid who's, he's hometown kid from here, loves it here, wants to be here, and then to honor the memory of his late mother, committed on the anniversary of her passing.
I want to correct you real quickly. The reason why he did it on yesterday was not because of the anniversary of her passing; it's because it would have been her birthday.
Oh, the other one. Excuse me.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yes. No problem.
So, a memorable day. I got it mixed up. Excuse me, and pardon the error there. But yeah, just on what would have been her birthday, committing there in her honor, just and to fulfill his dreams as well. So, just kind of that holistic synergy coming together. Yeah, really a great story, really a great event, and glad to see that we can do that and have a player of the caliber we need, and then be able to facilitate that on all fronts. So it's a win all around.
Listen, he's a kid that was wanted by everybody, right? Georgia, Florida State, Colorado, a bunch of schools wanted this kid out of Miami, Norland. He always wanted to be a Miami Hurricane. And I will say this is where we have to, watch where we go. But I would say the change in coaching staff on the defensive side maybe helped motivate or move this along a little bit faster, or got it to the point where he felt comfortable definitely making his verbal commitment. So
comfortable or able, or I mean, different
Able,
kind
yeah,
of things,
whatever the words, whatever the wording
but
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll say the situation improved in
there you
terms
go.
of that, and everything is now aligned where player is desiring to join the team, and then the team is also desiring of adding that player. So with all of that now, which was not
Correct.
synergistically aligned, now that it is, and it all did come together on that day, which is a great day and memorable for me because 313 is Detroit Day, because that's the area
Oh,
code
of
for
course.
Detroit. So
Of course.
all of that put together. But yeah, great to see that from Trey Dopson, Kenton Dopson III, and excited to continue to watch him at Miami Norland as he continues through his junior and senior seasons. And I did hear that there was like the very smallest outside chance that he could reclassify up to 2026, but we'll see.
Well, okay. Explain the reclassification thing to me, because I'm still like, I don't understand how a guy that's in a grade is able to like just jump, like, because growing up north, like that wasn't a thing that you could do.
Right. It really, and I mean, I went to private school. It definitely was not a thing you could do at
Right.
Cranbrook. But
Well, I went to private school too, yeah. So, yeah.
but basically, you do online class. You take the classes ahead that you need to take to fulfill your core requirements. Because in a liberal arts education in high school, technically you have more credits than you need. Because
Right.
I had kids who, when I taught, they were in choir for 4 years. You don't need 4 credits in fine
Right.
arts. You know
Correct.
what I mean? I loved it and it helped me build my program. But like, if you pare down those things that are extra that you don't need, you need 1 fine arts credit of some kind. You need 1 of and you can do these other things. And then you can take the requirements like your government, your economics, your English 4, P.S. By the way, actually, no, that's a different individual story. I'll tell you after we hang up, but I have a story
Okay.
about English 4 for Brian after we hang up. Oh boy, that I got to tell you. But
Okay.
basically,
I can't
kids
wait.
do online school. They work ahead. They do their requirements so that, either they're done with their junior year stuff and they take their senior year stuff early. But there's a measure of senior classes that do have to be taken early because second semester of English 4 has to be completed online as you're doing semester 1. So you get all of that because that is a firm requirement for everybody.
Got it. All right, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. So I think Miami's getting a really good player from everything that I've heard and read about Kenton Dopson the third. So that's a good pickup as Miami continues to build on their recruiting prowess.
Right. And I mean, for those who are looking for measurables and everything, 6'1", 175 pounds, probably runs 4.5 or a little bit faster than that. Remembering, please, that he's a current sophomore in high school, so he will get, bigger, faster, stronger. 4.5 is still really, really fast, so don't think that he's slow. But yeah, 6'1", 170, long arms, pretty, good speed, was an integral player on a Miami Norland team that went, into the playoffs, won a couple of games, I want to say. So, yeah, all of those things. And, keeping homegrown talent here is foundational to just the success of the program. So we've done that with Kenton Dopson III. Congratulations to him and his family, because obviously that was a momentous occasion and a wonderful day for him and all of them. And we'll move forward.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right. So we told you the football team is the entire university is on spring break. That includes the football team. They get a break too. And they're going to come back to spring practice, and we're going to have a couple weeks left of spring practice. We're going to have a spring game, and let's ask ourselves this question, because it seems like the initial week of spring practice was kind of dominated. At least the headlines were dominated by Malachi Toney, the young receivers stepping up, that sort of thing. So I ask you, what do you want to see from the rest of spring practice? Who needs to step up? What position group needs to step up? Where do you want to see improvement until we get to the spring game?
I want to see improvement. Really, this is the time. The off season in spring is really when you develop your skills. You know what I mean? So we've seen the pictures of guys who have reworked their bodies. Even Malachi Toney early on. Wesley Bassane, Hayden Lowe, Justin Scott, all kinds of guys like reworking their bodies, before you get onto the field. So now really just looking at that, working on the foundational skills and extended skills that you might need to use in games. If you have your baseline skills and can do the advanced skills, great. If you don't have the baseline skills, we're going to stay at day one, step one. I want to see who steps forward in the secondary, really. That's a thing that needs to be, because come on, like the secondary was the Achilles heel of this team last year. So that's really the thing. And also, I want to see quarterback. And not
do tell.
I don't care about Carson Beck, respectfully. He's the starting quarterback this year coming in. He does not need to be healthy now. He needs to be healthy in August. So I don't care what he does on the field in terms of throwing the ball now.
And we don't really care what he does off the field either, in any event.
Pretty much. But in terms of performance, I want to see what happens with the other three guys, the three guys who are throwing right now, that being Emory Williams, Judd Anderson, and Luke Nickel. Because I think that if we kind of refer this to the previous conversation about recruiting, what happens on the field in spring practice could potentially have a direct impact on the formation of this team for next year, because I'm not sure that Emory Williams stays on this roster after the spring.
Well, that was going to be my question. And by the way, you're right to name those two positions of defensive backfield and quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think it is an important question as to who will be backing up Carson Beck, who is number 2 next year, because like we've seen, you never know.
You're a play away from being the guy.
Right.
And
if you had, first of all, I'm surprised that Emory is still here.
I'm not surprised he's still here, especially since Reese Poffenbarger left on the first thing smoking after the regular season, because that removed another number from the room, because you knew Cam Ward wasn't coming back. Reese Poffenbarger leaves also, so instead of having 4 in the room, now you have 3. So then you're like, okay, cool, we'll see what happens. Carson Beck transfers in, but he has an elbow injury. So I'm not surprised he's still here. I might be surprised. I might join you in that statement in August, depending on how things go in the spring.
Yeah, no, listen, I do want to say this, though, about Emory. The fact that he's still here, and the fact that he's still competing, and the fact that he could have had every opportunity multiple times to put his head in the sand or duck away from the competition or leave or do any of a million things that weren't him being nothing but positive and upright and still hungry to go after it. I think that says a lot about his character. So whether he's here or anywhere else, he's like, I admire that. I admire him as a human for those things. Right. I'm not, listen, after what we saw in the bowl game, and I know it's only a half and, what have you. I just am not convinced that if Miami had to go a stretch of 3 or 4 games without Carson Beck, that Emory is the guy. I'm not convinced.
And that's right. I'm not convinced either. I've always, even if you look back to his recruiting profile, because I write one for every single recruit, and I have since 2012, right, on signing day, I wrote then that he was a program guy who's 3-4 mango seasons away from seeing the field in like the best case scenario. Like, I think that he's an average talent and always did. And I understand why Jaden Rashada left, because of the promise of $13.5 or $13.8 million that Florida was never going to pay him. But there's a Jaden Rashada sized hole in this quarterback room. And that, you dug a real deep hole and then you put 2 little pieces of dirt in there to try to fill it up. And that's Emory Williams. I don't think he's a Miami caliber quarterback. I'm so very sorry about that. That's just my view. It's always been my view. However, this is now the end of his second year here, going into year 3. If there's a time for him to show and prove any kind of tangible growth towards being a passable, functional quarterback here at the University of Miami, now is the time, right? Because I get it was a terrible situation as a true freshman. Tyler Van Dyke couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They threw you in there. That wasn't really fair to the player, but we had nothing else to do. Cool. Last year, you didn't play. You played against, whomever, Ball State, FAMU. That's not competition, right? You're going to be better than that caliber. Don't play again until the bowl game and figure, hey, even if he went 8 for 15 for 94 yards, a touchdown and a pick, I'm thinking, all right, there's something there you can work with. Then he did what we saw in that bowl game. I said, oh my God, he's gotten worse. So I don't know. And I know that Iowa State's defense was good, fast, and physical, but that wasn't the 85 Bears. That wasn't the 2001 Hurricanes. You know what I mean? That he was playing against. So if you're going to show worth and value, this is the time. And I believe if he does, if it's close between him and Luke Nickel, because I don't think that Judd Anderson's ever going to play a meaningful snap here.
Yeah,
but if it's close between,
said that
I just wanted to reiterate because I know people are listening and watching saying, "Oh, there's another guy." There's not really. Which I mean, if you're talking about roster building, then you had a program guy in Emory and a program guy in Judd back to back. Where's star power? Anyway, I digress. If it's close between Emory and Luke Nickel, then I think you got to go with Emory just to save Luke Nickel for 4 future years of potential ability to play. Unless, Emory comes out and he had a real come to Jesus meeting with himself. He really got to know the man in the mirror and can figure something out. But this spring, I think this is rubber meet road time for him. He's going to show that he can play here ever or not.
Yeah. Listen, I can't say anything that's going to be anything better than what you just laid down there. So we will use this opportunity to promote the website that you do a great job of managing, which is stateoftheu.com. There's a great article. Now, listen, we're not going to get into the specifics because it's going to take a while to go through an entire third part of the game that we almost neglect a lot, which is the special teams. But there's been some revamping, not only on those who are involved on the field, whether it be kicking or snapping for special teams. There's been some revamping there, but also some of the staff has changed as well as it relates to coaching the special teams. So if you want to learn all the new names and look at the ins and the outs, go to stateoftheu.com. There's a great article right on the front page where you will start to learn about some of the revamping that Mario and this coaching staff has done with that third part of the game, again, that we sometimes take for granted, but shouldn't be, because when it comes to covering kicks and covering punts and returning kicks and returning punts and kicking field goals and punting and snapping and all that stuff, it's very important.
It is very important. And I mean, the one player who's really going to carry over from last year is Dylan Joyce, the punter.
Right, correct.
And pretty much every other position. So and he also holds, I believe. So the punter and then the holder. There are a couple of names maybe to look at to replace the end of the Borgalis kicking dynasty after 5 years here in Miami. Who were those names? You can go find out. And interestingly for me, I'm really looking and seeing who is going to step up in the return game, because you and I both remember Miami Hurricanes teams from years gone by where you would kick it to them and it'd be like, I mean, look, Louisville on Thursday night in 2004. Are they going to kick it to Devin Hester? Oh my God, kick it out of bounds. Oh, it curved to Devin Hester, ball game. You know what I mean? Where's that guy?
What's the one stat that has been missing for this program for a long time? Do you know what it is?
Return touchdowns.
Well, yes, but I was going to say non-offensive touchdowns. But yes, return touchdowns. Yeah. It used to be such a huge part of this program for a long time, and it was emphasized for a long time, and it's just been fair catch after fair catch.
And I'm fine with fair catches because it secures the ball, but in the times when there's opportunities to make impact in terms of returning the ball, it's just not been there. And if you take those opportunities and fair catch them, or those opportunities, and then you never have that wiggle, like Chris Johnson Jr., the running back. I wanted him to take a kickoff return to the house, but he always got caught up, it seemed like, by a shoestring. Where's that wiggle? Where's that little bit of, you know what I mean? Just that little to then use that 10-3 track speed and get loose. Didn't have it. You know, the one person who did? Rashard Smith. Had that one time. Before that, you know who like the last player, I believe, to return a punt was? Jeff Thomas.
Oh my goodness.
At Virginia, when he worked his way all the way across the field and dove to the end zone and whatnot. I mean, you're going back to him. You're going back to like a DJ Dallas, bro. Like, and I know you're thinking, well, DJ Dallas is still in the league and everything. Yeah, he is still in the league. But when was he at Miami?
A long time ago.
That part, like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, yeah, so, you know, there's a lot to look at and a lot to talk about. And Justin DeTavio did a great job of that at StateOfTheU.com. So please come on over and fan with us. Click on that article and so many more, because they're there 24/7, 365, always Canes and always free.
Yeah, StateOfTheU.com, always open and always free. I like it. I was going to make a joke there, but I'll just keep that to myself. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we have to get into a serious discussion that all day I've been having agita about this discussion, because it makes me feel uncomfortable. But I feel like it needs to start to be we need to start to have this discussion. So I'll figure out how I'm going to approach this, and we'll do that on the other side. You're listening and watching the Real Ones Canes podcast. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood. He's the managing editor of State of the U. You can follow Cam, and you should give him a follow on X at Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast Leonard. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. I don't have a website to manage. I don't. I wish I did. Maybe I should create one. I don't know what I would put on there, but you know, something maybe like pictures of my dogs or something. Would people come? Nope. I don't think that would get the clicks.
They would. You would be surprised, my friend.
All right, I will not go into a whole dissertation on where we are in 2025 and clicks. What we need to get to, though, and again, I said before the break, I was really like having like anxiety about this conversation all day, but I think it needs to be had. And I texted you earlier this week after the University of Miami lost a midweek game. Granted, to
wait, which team?
Well, did I text you after UCF or UConn? I don't remember.
You texted me after UCF. You haven't said what sport, though. You just said the University of Miami.
Sorry. We're talking baseball. We're talking baseball. I can't sing. Maybe Cam can teach me. So, yeah, the University of Miami baseball program, right? It's supposed to make our springs happy, right? Go get a shake, watch some great games, go to Omaha, win the World Series, do all that. It's been a while. It's been a long time. And the program was amazing for most of Jim Morris's tenure. A big part of it, I would say. I may come back and revive that at some point. But then it tailed off, and then we got the Gino DiMare era, and that wasn't very fun. And then now we're in the J.D. Arteaga era. And again, we're not having fun. The baseball program before this season, coming into this year under J.D. Arteaga, was 27-30 in his 2 years. They are 12-6 this year, so he's above 500 slightly right now. But that is going to change because, Cam, they're taking on Wake Forest this weekend. Wake Forest, one of the better programs in the country. They have a great head coach. They're ranked number 14 as of now, as we record this on Friday before the start of the series. I texted
just to
you.
Clear something up.
Yeah.
J.D. Arteaga, this is his second year. They were 27-30 in a.
Oh, that's right. That's right. My bad. My bad.
That was 1 year.
Yeah, that was 1 year. My bad.
You're thinking like football team numbers.
I can't read numbers. It's okay. So this is the second year. Things are not boding well. And I'm not ready to like drop the axe right now, but I'm just asking you this question, which I've already asked you, but now I'll ask you in front of the millions that watch and listen to this, which is it too early to have the conversation about the direction of the baseball program?
No,
18 games into the season.
I don't think it's too early at all. Like, this is a legacy program in the world of college baseball. I'm hurt that we have fallen to these depths. Like, in all of like the previous iterations of the MLB baseball game, like, with the road to the show, and they had colleges in there for years and years and years. Miami was one of only 8 teams that was included in those games. In this iteration of the game, Miami is not going to be or is not included in there. So I'm like, cool, there's that now, right? So we have even like the baseball program has fallen off of that. And for me, myself personally, being from somewhere else, I'm from Detroit, if y'all don't know, the first team that I loved from the University of Miami was the baseball team because, as I have a hat here, their hat has the Old English M, just like the Detroit Tigers have the Old English D. So I was like, oh my God, and I like those colors. So boom, it's like, this is not that hat, but what actually it might be from when I was like still in middle school. Like that team, this is before every game was on TV. So it'd be cool at the end of my middle school year, college baseball, grew up and playing baseball. And like, I have a baseball on my desk here. You know what I mean? Cool. Let's turn on the College World Series. Great. Miami's there again. And that was the team that I connected to from this institution in Detroit back in the 90s and all those kind of things. It's been forever since we've even made a regional, let alone won a regional, let alone been to Rosenblatt or whatever, new Rosenblatt out there in Omaha, because they tore down the old one and made a new stadium and everything. But if in the same way that I have the high standard for the football program, if the main thing is the thing and you're supposed to be winning and competing for championships, I mean, like, it's not too early to talk about it because, yeah, UCF blew our doors off midweek, got run. Well, it was at the end of the game, but lost by 10, should have gotten run ruled. And like, I'm having PTSD before it even happens for all the pings and home runs that we're going to give up to Wake Forest because that team mashes. And it's just like, what? Lo, how the mighty have fallen so far. Like, it really hurts my heart.
So I just want to bring up a couple factors because I know that the loyalists will throw this back at us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is Miami.
I'm loyal. But wait, I'm loyal. You're loyal. Like, no, we're not here because we hate them. We're here because we love them.
Okay, loyalist is probably the wrong term, but the propagandist would throw at us, which is Miami is a private school. And you're saying, well, why does that matter? Well, because baseball still, in some asinine way, only has 11.7 scholarships to give out amongst their 27 players on a roster, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like football where you got, whatever it is now, 90 something or whatever amount of scholarships there is, or basketball where you get the whole team is like, except for walk-ons, is covered by a scholarship. In baseball, you got to divide up 11.7 scholarships amongst 27 kids, which means unless you're like Pat Burrell or Cuvée, or I'm trying to think of another one that definitely got a full scholarship. Ryan Braun. Yeah, like unless you're that guy, you don't get a full scholarship. You get a quarter, you get a half. Like, and so then you've got to make up the rest of that $90,000+ tuition to the University of Miami, which for a lot of families is not attainable. Now, listen, the university will work with you when it comes to grants and this and that, loans and all the other stuff. They'll try to make it happen, but it's still, consider that as opposed to going to the University of Florida or a public institution where tuition is a lot cheaper. And if you don't get a full scholarship, it still doesn't break the bank in order to go to a state school and play baseball there. But we're really asking our players, if we're the University of Miami, to pay to play baseball at our institution. Okay,
we're not the only ones.
No, not the only ones. Right.
UCLA. UCLA is public school. Sorry, USC.
Yes. Correct. Yes, but I'm just saying that has been the main argument over the last 20 years plus of, hey, well, the tuition keeps going up. That's going to make it harder for us to recruit, players because of X, Y, and Z. That's I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's something to throw out there. Here's what I'll say. We live in a town where baseball is played everywhere. There's great
all the time too.
All the time, all year round. Like I can go walk around my development and the development next door and whatever, and I see kids everywhere walking around with their bags, with their bats, whatever. Baseball's played everywhere. There is no shortage of talent in the area, just like in football. Basketball is a different situation. We've had our issues with it can go up and down as far as the local talent in basketball. But for the most part, football and baseball, 24/7, 365, you can go out somewhere and find someone that can play that sport really well at a high level. So there's no shortage of talent. Now you got to get creative in order to get those kids into school and get school paid for. And I'm just thinking with NIL, with all sorts of ways and means, how can we not be making up for this kind of problem that we have with the scholarship limitation? And are we making the most of the talent that we are recruiting? That's another thing.
So let me ask you this then, since this is, we're both attuned to this topic, but you're the one who wanted to bring it forward. Is it, in your mind, is there a talent deficit that we're trying to fight as we did in the realm of football previously? Or is this like a coaching and like utilization issue? Because I'll just ask you that. So do you think it's a talent issue? You think it's a coaching issue?
Well,
because this is not the first coach who struggled.
I'll come straight up. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the coaching issue. I'm split because I went to UM. Some of the first games I did on 90.5 WVUM doing play-by-play were JD Arteaga on the mound throwing baseballs and him literally coming up after the games, walking up into the stands in the old Mark Light Stadium before they built the new press box and doing interviews with me as like a, junior and a senior. So, like I've known JD for 25 years or 23 years. Okay. And I know that what his baseball knowledge, and I know that he's got it in him, but yes, I think there's a coaching issue. I think now let's take a break. Let me go on an aside for one moment.
Okay.
There are stories out there. I have not been able to confirm them, but where there's smoke, there's fire. That this job was not maybe offered, but kind of like feelers were put out to a possible other coach before they gave the job to JD, and that coach stayed where they are. Whether Miami is playing that team tonight or not, that's up to you. But so there was maybe some due diligence, but I will say this. It looks like an awfully lazy hire, even if it wasn't, to not go through like a thorough search or at least talk about that search and then just hire the next assistant up, right? Because it was like Morris, then Damare, then JD. It's like assistant after assistant.
Well,
so that's
Jim Morris came from Georgia Tech.
Well, no, but yeah. But what I'm saying is you had Jim Morris, and then you hired two assistants on his staff.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's that. And I do think there's some coaching issues there. Okay. On the talent thing, though, I really think, and listen, I can't say that I'm out watching Columbus baseball or Palmetto baseball or, whatever it is every night. I'm not. But I just wonder if our recruiting strategy is what it needs to be in 2025, because I feel like the recruiting strategy has basically been the same with some minor tinkering for since 1994.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you're going to get top local talent. You're going to lose the top of the off that list to the end.
Some guys are going to go to the draft or whatever. Yeah.
Your Jesus Luzardo when he was coming from Stoneman Douglas. Your Mark Vientos now starting third baseman for the Mets. Same recruiting class, by the way. Your Alex Rodriguez is. The Ryan Brauns and Daniel Cuvées and Pat Burrows of the world are few and far between. I mean, I know we did have Yonder Alonso, thank goodness, and Yasmani Grandal, but they were there at the same time. But yeah, there are a lot of the list. Baseball America is hey man, Miami's recruiting class, the last, 10 years has been top 25. It's been pretty good. Even when it's not that good, it's like 28th, but like last year it was 10th and this year's like 15th. But yeah, you're going to lose a couple guys off the top of that. And then it's like, okay, you're going to have some guys transfer. Blake Sear all of a sudden playing second base up in Gainesville. I'm like, wait, he's supposed to be starting here. And it's him and then Cuvée and then, and whatnot. But yeah, I think that the recruiting strategy has been about the same. I think that the pitching issue is really the issue. And with it being, because I think the pitching is an issue, full stop. And with JD Arteaga having been the previous pitching coach and then being elevated to the head coach, and then you see that issue persist.
No, it's a great point.
But
yeah, I get it.
Those are just my thoughts. But I mean, yeah, like I said, this is the first team that I loved from the University of Miami before I came to the University of Miami. I'm not somebody who was born into this, right? And then like from day one, like Kenton Dopson, like I wasn't born at Miami Jackson Senior, or you know what I mean, Miami Jackson Hospital, and then like swaddled in Hurricanes colors. I'm from somewhere else. I didn't. But even being from somewhere else, the reach and brand of the University of Miami extended as far as Detroit. And from Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska, the baseball team was the first team I ever loved from these universities. So seeing them struggle in the sport that I love most, spoiler alert, I love baseball. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport, bar none. And seeing them struggle really, really is tough for me to deal with, especially because my first connection to this university, which eventually led me to find out more, which eventually led me to apply and make me chose this university and matriculate through and graduate from this university. All of that for my life story and connection to the U started with the seed of Miami Hurricanes baseball. So just like you, yeah, it really is unsettling to see just terrible play. And I know that it's a couple years gone, but having our record long 44-year consecutive streak of making the NCAA tournament in baseball come to an end, and then Florida State beat that by 1 year before they also fell by the wayside. Like you have that broken, and then that streak broken, then that record broken by those people up in up in Tallahassee in back-to-back years. It doesn't feel great.
By the way, Florida State 15-0, undefeated, number 5 in the country.
They lost. Didn't they just lose one?
Unless I'm looking at no.
What?
No, you're right. I'm off by a week. No, you're right.
Yeah, they lost midweek.
You're right. You know what? It's because the rankings come out on 2 days,
on Mondays.
Yeah. That's why. You're right. All right.
Okay. But still 15-1 versus not 15-1 and going into Winston Durham to probably get our doors blown off this weekend.
Gonna be a long weekend. Listen, I don't want to have like a mid-season breakdown. Although if
I did already
start losing through the ACC schedule, I probably will. But it's just something that we're gonna have to keep our eyes on, because I really miss being able to today on March 14th book my travel to Omaha. I knew we were gonna be there, so okay. I'm going to book it now because I'm going to get cheaper flights if I book it now than if I wait. I used to take Southwest to Omaha, and now bags, I would have to pay for bags. So I don't know. I would have to figure out another situation.
Did you see, because Southwest is, I believe, based out of Dallas, they put up a post on social media and said, wait, it's not like we traded Luka.
Oh,
yeah.
Props. Listen. The people that run these corporate social media accounts are getting smarter and smarter. They
really are. It's for those who are fans of Southwest, and I know many people who are. It is as big an issue as though you did trade Luka. So,
listen, I have Southwest stands who literally told me I'm out. That was it.
I have heard that from a couple people as well.
Now they're like everybody else. I might as well go to a place that has all the whatever upscale whatever. In any event, that'll do it for this week's show. Practice restarts. Does it start on Monday?
Yep.
Starts on Monday, so we'll get back into football next week. Again, we'll have Michelle Kaufman on to tell us about Jay Lucas. By then, we'll probably know about his staff and some more about what is going on with the basketball program. We'll have football to talk about. We'll be getting to the pro day situation and the draft coming up. We'll dig into all of that. So listen, There's no shortage of topics right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. All right. Listen, do me a favor. Go check out stateoftheu.com, where Cam and his staff do a great job of covering the program, all the programs, all the stuff you need to know. Go check it out. And until next time, we will see you right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Peace.